Please understand that the visa officer doesn't know you. There are close to about 800 people or 700 people applying for a visa on a given day. The officer may have only 2 or 3 minutes to make a decision, right? So you have to drive the interview. You have to provide relevant information voluntarily. So US visa is based on interview. So any interview is subjective. What you say and what the other person could understand could be two different things. However, if you understand what is the visa law, the law says that any student who's going to the US first must prove or show his intentions to go and study there, that you are a legitimate student, you have a reason to go there, right? Because you have certain skill sets which would really take you to the next level, or this higher education, or which is research that you want to get involved in, would really build your career. So you have to be very focused in understanding what are your career objectives. Where do you see yourself after completing your program? You must know your program, right? And then more importantly, the officer wants to know what are the reasons they'll bring you back, because the law says any student who's applying for a student visa should be considered as a potential immigrant until proven otherwise. So you have to show your reasons of coming back. You have to show your intentions, that you understand what's happening in India and you want to come back and contribute for your career growth here, right? So most of the time when students go there, they have a very cliched answer, which is going to be like, why do you want to go and study in the US? So they would say, I want to go and do my master's. Once again, a lot of information which is on the digital platform says that, be brief, only give limited answers. Please understand that the visa officer doesn't know you. There are close to about 800 people or 700 people applying for a visa on a given day. The officer may have only 2 or 3 minutes to make a decision, right? So you have to drive the interview. You have to provide relevant information voluntarily, right? So create a storyline for yourself, right? In that storyline, the most important thing is going to be the course content, the curriculum, the research, right? The skill sets. You have to provide this information so that the officer understands your reason of going there. Not just that, I want to go and do my master's in the US, because US education is globally accredited. I would get a lot of global exposure. All those are cliched answers. Opposed to an answer where you drive the interview. For example, if the officer says, why do you want to go and study in the US? You start talking about, sir, I've done my BTech here in computer science. I've been working, for example, with, let's say, with ENY. I'm handling consulting over there, and now I want to go and do my specialization in data science, because data science is really, really picking up. A lot of decision-making process happens through data, right? So once I complete my master's and return back to my home country, my career growth here would be much bigger and better, right? So you're giving him information about the skill sets that you have identified, which would really help you grow professionally. Now, the second question could be, why have you chosen this university? Most of the time, the students would say that, I've chosen this university because they would straight away start talking about the university ranking. They would start talking about the professors, the research, and all of that. And sometimes the students would make blunder by saying that, this university is offering me a full scholarship. Or they would say that, one of my friend who was studying over there suggested that this is one of the universities which is good. Or they would say that, I've chosen this university because it is affordable, right? Or they would say that I've chosen this university because in a area where the weather is closer to the Indian weather. Those are not the reasons that you're going there for. You're spending hundreds and thousands of dollars, not because you want to go into an environment where it is closer to an Indian environment, right? You're going there so that you could improve your skill sets. You could learn new skills. You could compete at the international level, right? So your focus again has to be, when you're choosing a university, that you've done a research, you've applied to various colleges, right? Once you receive the admits, then you've chosen which particular college would really, really benefit you in terms of improving your skill sets. What are the teaching methodologies there? What is the specialization that you're looking at? What are the professors doing over there? Talk specifics about your career goals, about the program that you want to go and enroll for. Know your subjects and incorporate that in your answer, and then talk about your reason of choosing the particular college. Not that, it is offering you 100% scholarship. It could be good for you, but that should not be the criteria of choosing a university, unless you're going in for a PhD. Once again, there's also very important how you sequence your answers. The officer's mindset is that he has his own data. right? And they make a decision based on their data and your answers. And if the data and the answers come together, it becomes easier for the officer to make a decision in your favor. All right. So please understand that look at your program holistically. Look around what's happening in India. I had a student who came up with a very noble idea, because a lot of students say that I want to come back and do a startup here. So startup means a huge thing. You have to really focus on what kind of a startup you want, right? Now, if you look at the olden days, if I had to go and watch a movie, I had to drive from my home, go to a movie hall, stand in a line, buy a ticket, and if the tickets are not there, then possibly look for someone who is selling it for a higher price. However, Book My Show has brought about a solution here, that I can book a ticket right from here. So that should be your concept. So one of the students who came in and said, "Sir, I want to go and study and create an app where I could allow people to do a parking, because parking is becoming a big problem in India. So I could pre-book my parking at a spot that I want to go." So that his answers would revolve around this concept. So why do you want to go to the US? And I've done my bachelor's here, and I've been working with a startup, and that's what I've realized is that India is facing a lot of issues on parking slots. Families go there and they don't find parking. So I want to create an app, right? But how do I create an app? How do I how do I create that into a business? That's the reason I've chosen this particular university, because it is offering me the kind of skill sets which would help me develop an app, and also the electives where I can do a business, and finance, because US allows you to do various, you can create your own curriculum. So his answer became a very holistic, that he's found an issue and he wants to solve that issue, right? So create that kind of an environment in your head that, if you find a solution or if you look at a difficulty, how would you solve it? Then your answer becomes much more stronger. It becomes your answer. It does not become a very open answer that anybody could give. Now, when we talk about funding, so a lot of people say that, hey, my university offering me a 50% scholarship. So should I mention that first? So or I've taken in a complete education loan which covers my entire tuition fees and my living expense, right? So what should be my answer? So now again, let's go back to the visa law. The law says that anyone who's going to the US must show strong ties to the home country. I'm sure you've read this online, you've heard this from a lot of people, but you need to understand what does ties mean? The ties would mean your social ties, your family's financial ties in your home country, and of course your professional goals here, right? So when you're framing an answer, financial ties, when he's asking you how will you fund yourself, you're going to start talking about your family's annual income first, then the savings and investments, then that we also own properties here. In addition to this, I've taken an education loan, because there's a huge difference between financial ties and availability of funds. The officer wants to understand your financial ties, right? So make sure that you sequence your answer in that format. Even if you're getting a full scholarship, still mention that my family is there to support me. We have an annual income of so much, savings, investments, properties. However, because I'm going for a PhD, looking at my credentials, the college has offered me a complete scholarship. So that's how you build that answer, right? And if the officer says, what are your career objectives, or where do you see yourself 5 years down the line? So a lot of people say that, hey, I want to go and work there. So should I tell this to the officer or should I not? Right? Now, we have to understand that there are different visa categories for different purposes. If somebody wants to go and study, there's an F1. If somebody wants to go and work there's an H1. However, a student who's applying for his visa now must focus on his current situation, that his focus today should be education and returning back to the home country. However, you have a built-in program called OPT. If you've received your I-20, if you look at the third page, it says travel authorization and your work authorization. So your program itself allows you to work there, do your OPT, and if you're contributing while doing your OPT, which is called the optional practical training, the company, the organization, if you're adding value, would like to retain you, they would go ahead and file an H1 for you, right? So again, it is not you or me who can file an H1, it is the company who requires you. So your current focus should be on returning back to your home country after completing the program, all right? So those are the kind of little insights that you should start working on. First thing is you should have your focus very clear that you want to go and study in the US. So understand your program, understand the course content, the curriculum, right? The professors, and what are the kind of skill sets that you'll get from there. Your focus should be there because you have to first prove that you're a legitimate student. You understand what you want to go and study there, and how will you use that for your career growth once you return back to your home country. So that's the kind of a mindset that the officer comes with when he's taking your interview. So A, they don't take a pre-decision. The interview is subjective. So once you reach there, the officer will open up your case, ask you pertinent questions. He's expecting you to answer those questions. And if you drive that interview and take him and lead him towards your career objectives, then it becomes easier for him to make a decision in your favor. So those are the kind of insights that I would like to share with you.